For 1 month we couldn't find what was happening, and when finally I stayed in the hospital and we found what was happening and how serious my situation was, so this changed me so much. I started to see things that before I couldn't see. I started to care for things that others didn't care.
Yes, hello Georgina. We are happy to see you here. Let's start the interview. Who is Georgina? Tell me something about you.
I am Georgina Xenou. I am 25 years old and I live in Athens, in Greece.
Yes, you are doing karate since many years because your family has clubs. How did you start to karate?
My parents is karate trainers, so I went to for first time for karate lessons when I was 3 years old. I stopped, but I didn't like karate, so I stopped. And after some months, my boyfriend from school, when we were 3 years old, he began karate to my parents' studio, so I started for being with him.
Okay, after that day, you keep doing karate in your parents' club. When did you reach your first success in karate? In Greece or international?
For the first time, when I was 11 years old, I competed for first time in Balkan Championship and I had first place. So it was my first international important for me podium. And then I started like karate even much more.
Now you are doing karate as a professional. I mean, this is your life. Also, you are teaching karate to young kids. Life brought you here because your parents are trainers, they have clubs. That's why you didn't have any option.
I told you that I had my first important for me medal when I was 11.5 years old. My first Balkan gold medal. After some months, I was so focused on my training. I was motivated as never before, and suddenly one pain came to my life, so hard pain. I was all the time in the floor, like so much pain. So for 1 month we couldn't find what was happening, and when finally I stayed in the hospital and we found what was happening and how serious my situation was, the harder thing in my mind in the beginning was that I couldn't do karate, and my doctors told me that I never can do karate again. This was hurting me, but after came so many hard times. Karate finally it was my strength. I was thinking myself doing karate and I was trying to do some movements in my bed, and this was my power even if in this difficult situation. And from that moment I was believing that I will do karate again even doctors say that I can't. For example, I was in my bed with closed my eyes and I was thinking that I'm doing karate and I am in the Balkan Championship and I won again. I had medals and these things. But first of all, I was doing kata. I was thinking this thing all the time, and just my hands was doing some things. It was following my mind. This is what I could do, because I was bad in the bed. I mean, I couldn't do karate.
So, what kind of things changed in your life?
Everything, everything. I couldn't imagine all these things that I saw and I lived and I thought, and I couldn't imagine that there are these things in the world. Everything changed, everything. And never came back to the before. Even my thoughts, when I was done with cancer, I was not done with the cancer, because my mind was every night when I was in my bed, so strong moments was coming again in my mind, so strong that I couldn't do nothing to take them away. It was like I was living again and again some of my hardest moments, physically and mentally. So for 3 years, every night I was living with crying. In the day, my life was like a normal person, but I had to be in the hospital twice or 3 times per week. Sometimes my checkups was not so good, so I had to prepare myself because we were afraid that cancer came back. So I had to prepare myself all the time that maybe again. So every time, so often I had to stop my life again. Even in training, I couldn't get tired my head. I had to be so careful. I couldn't be out of breath. I had to be calm. I had not to be sad. I had to be so careful. Also, I was in the hospital all the time for my checkups, but also when I was for my checkups, I was with many children that had cancer at that moment. So I wanted to make them feel better. So I was playing with them. I had conversation with them. So I wanted to make them feel better. But it's something that made me sad and made me happy at the same time. I didn't want to forget them, but also I couldn't. I mean, that moment that was coming in my mind the night, I wanted so much to kick them out of my life, but I couldn't. So this changed me so much. I started to see things that before I couldn't see. I started to care for things that others didn't care, and everything in training and in life, everything changed. The next day when I did my last surgery and put away, I think that the chemotherapist was in my body. The next day I was in the dojo. I had my first training, very light training. I couldn't be tired or something, but I was there without my hair, but it was my best day, the best day in my life. I had the last surgery, and the next day I was in training. I feel blessed that I can do what I love, and I am fighting for my dreams, and I do everything I was dreaming to do, because now I can do all the things that are necessary for make my dream come true. In this way, when you are competing so much, you want more and more and more and more, and that's the point. You don't have to feel that okay, you are enough good in this. Of course, you always want more and more and more. But sometimes I want to stop and think that I am so lucky, so blessed, so proud. So I am here and I am fighting for my dreams.
Okay, thank you. What did you learn after this period? I mean, before you didn't know anything about cancer. Also, you were doing karate. Now you are like more professional than other people because you know how you can beat cancer. What did you learn?
Sometimes this is my strength. I won cancer, so I can do everything. And it's my way of thinking is that there are no limits. If you fight for something, if you want something and you fight for it, there are no limits. You can do everything. For example, I was in a period that everybody, doctors and everybody, thought that I could never do karate again. And I never believed in this, but it made me sad. Everybody was telling me that I have to stop doing karate. I will never again doing karate.
You didn't listen. What is your advice for everyone?
Life is difficult sometimes, but if you don't give up and if you continue the way for your dream without never believe that you can, then there are no limits in what you can do.